Hey gang, what's up? Just Ehren right here, question period, Canada. There is nobody like Pierre Poilievre in politics. He's one of a kind. Maybe he's going to be our next prime minister. Fingers crossed. He can't be worse than what we currently have. So, these are the best of Pierre Poilievre's insults behind his questions. There's so many barbs, man. Like, I wouldn't want to be asked a question by Pierre Poilievre.
He has led to a quadrupling of car thefts in Toronto. This Prime Minister is not worth the cost and not worth the crime. And furthermore, the minister claimed that he brought in bail reform that would stop auto theft, only that their bail reform doesn't apply to auto theft. So he's got to read his own law before trumpeting it in the Parliament. Mr. Speaker, they've given us a 300% increase in auto theft in Toronto because it has exploded by 32% since he took office, just as the bureaucracy has exploded. He has not put it into frontline officers. In fact, at the Port of Montreal, say it softly and slowly so the Prime Minister can understand. We cut auto theft by 50%, that's right, by half. Yes, while reducing the cost of the bureaucracy. And yes, we are voting against him putting hundreds of millions of dollars more into high-priced consultants and back-office bureaucrats that don't stop crime. These are the same promises he made 8 years ago before he doubled housing costs. He's not worth the cost of housing, which is up 100%. Rent is up 20%, or $400 for the average family. And now we learn that construction is in free fall, down 28% last December versus the December before. You can't live in announcements and programs. You need homes that have walls and floors and ceilings. The Prime Minister doing another selfie in front of a construction site won't do that. You know, the Prime Minister's strength is not math, but the facts are that we took office, there were about 12,000 working as CBSA officials, and when we left office, there were over 14,000. So 14,000 is more than 12,000 to help the Prime Minister with sure getting desperate if he has to blame Conservative campaign workers for the fact that he raised food prices, especially when, Mr. Speaker, Don Guy, the Prime Minister's chief pollster, works for GT & Co., which collects checks from Loblaws. As does Dan Arnold, his other pollster, getting checks from Loblaws. Are they the ones that forced him to quadruple the carbon tax on our food? Mr. Speaker, he makes it too easy. He talks about caucus meetings and Loblaws. Get this. The Prime Minister had someone who is his director of caucus services named Julie DeWolf, who is now a lobbyist for Loblaws. Would he like us to continue going down the list of all of his Loblaws lobbyists, Mr. Speaker?
Something to watch the flailing of the Conservatives right now as they do anything to try to distract from the fact that their campaign manager, the leader of the opposition's top advisor, is and still gets contributions and paychecks from Loblaw.
Well, here are the actual facts. Let's go through them. C5 keeps mandatory prison sentences. Mr. Speaker.
In the previous round, when the Speaker was a little confused as to who was going to be speaking next, as it turns out, we had deprived the Leader of the Opposition a question. I don't know.
Old, hard facts. There were 2/3 less cases of extortion in the last year of the common sense Conservative government. The Prime Minister has only multiplied crime with his catch and release policies. Will he follow the evidence and reinstate a common sense criminal justice? The Prime Minister is not worth the cost of housing, which has doubled since he promised to lower it. Now we have a brand new phenomenon of the middle class homeless. In fact, according to the Executive Director of the Royal Canadian Legion of Nova Scotia, members of the Canadian Forces are now forced to live in tents, in cars, and to couch surf. There are 30 homeless encampments in Halifax after 8 years of this Prime Minister. An outrageous non-response. There's a 177% increase in Bagotville and a 261% increase in the wait line for military housing. And now he plans a $450 rent increase on the people who protect our country. Of corruption, waste, and mismanagement, I have written the RCMP asking them to expand their criminal investigation into the Prime Minister's Arrive scam. He has a track record of blocking criminal investigations. He tried to protect SNC-Lavalin from prosecution. He blocked the RCMP from investigating his illegal vacation to Billionaire Island. Will he stay out of the way, or will he again try to block the RCMP's criminal investigation into Arrive scam?
We'll, of course, encourage the RCMP to do its work, but it doesn't take politicians, even leaders of the opposition, to tell the RCMP to do their job. They do their job, Mr. Speaker. And they do it well.
They do their job unless the Prime Minister blocks them from doing their job, like he did in his criminal offense, where he committed the crime of accepting a gift from someone who was seeking a government contract from him. He blocked the RCMP from investigating him. And COVID-19 is something he saw as a once-in-a-generation opportunity to fill the pockets of his friends, whether it was the WE scandal, in which his family received $500,000, or whether it was Frank Baylis, or now the Arrive scam. Will he stay out of the way and let the police investigate him and his corrupt government in Arrive scam?
But we will continue to be there for Canadians.
His Arrive scam went from $80,000 to at least $60 million and counting. That two insiders got $20 million working from their home basement. Let's get this straight. It's a company with 4 employees, headquartered in the basement of a tiny cottage. They got IT contracts, even though they admit they do no IT work. $250 million. WTF.
I'm going to ask, we are dangerously close to crossing the line in terms of what is considered parliamentary language. That is an abbreviation which is commonly used with language, which is commonly understood not to be parliamentary. I'm going to ask the honourable opposition leader, please, to withdraw that comment and to use parliamentary language, please.
Where's the funds? So let's recap. A company that had never before received contracts from the federal government started getting an avalanche of contracts just 3 weeks after this Prime Minister took office. Even get the new name of the carbon tax right. It's only 3 words. The Prime Minister should learn that we can't improve life by slogans alone, Mr. Speaker. That's right. So that's why we propose the facts. I have here a distributional analysis of the federal fuel charge by the Parliamentary Budget Officer, which shows that 60% of Canadians pay more in taxes than they get back in his phony rebates. Why won't he follow the facts and axe the tax? First of all, he wants to quadruple it between now and 2030. And on April 1st, he plans to hike it by 23% with the support of the NDP. The tax hike will be bigger than any increases in the rebate, and therefore people will be bigger, the average families in all the provinces will be bigger net losers under this tax than they were before. With Canadians unable to eat, heat, and house themselves, will the Prime Minister cancel his plan to hike the tax on April 1st?
Colleagues.
The Parliamentary Budget Officer report is in my hands, page 3 of a distributional analysis of the federal fuel charge under the 2030 emissions reduction plan. Google it. Look it up. It's on the Parliamentary Budget Officer's website. You don't have to believe me, and you certainly don't want to believe him. Go look for yourself. The average Ontario family will pay $1,674 in carbon taxes next year. That's $630 more than they get back in rebates. So why doesn't the Prime Minister Google it, look up the report, check the facts, and axe the tax?
That's Pierre Poilievre. He's the leader of the Conservative Party, the official opposition. He's in line to be the next Prime Minister of Canada, the polls say. My name is Ehren. This is Question Period Canada. We follow Canadian politics. Every day we cover the Question Period, so check out one of our live shows. Like and subscribe. We have a lot of fun here in the chat room all over the place. Press one of the buttons to like, subscribe. Check out one of our other videos. That'd be great. Stay warm, have something healthy to eat.